if I'm looking at someone and wondering, do they have the building blocks of leadership? What am I looking for when I'm looking at a prospective leader? Obviously, I look for character. The New Testament teaches us that's kind of the first step. If they don't have character, then let's forget it right now. On top of character, I look for a capacity for intimacy with Jesus. I look for a hunger there. I also look for an ability to change the culture. When we talk about changing culture, sometimes it's easy to think, well, do you mean like the culture of a city or the culture of a nation? I mean the culture of a room. When they walk in a room, do they change the culture? Do they drag the room closer to Jesus or not, simply by how they are and what they do? Do they have the capacity to carry a culture of freedom, a culture of intimacy, a culture of joy, a culture of mission? Do they confront sin when they see it, or do they go along with it? And that's one of the incredibly powerful telltale signs of a leader, is they actually can change a culture. It can be embryonic. It doesn't have to be that they can change a room of thousands. It can be a small group. It can be a worship band. It can be a setup team. But can they change the culture and bring people along with them? I also just look for love. Do they love people, or is it about them? And then one of the big things for me is, do they know how to worship? And do they place themselves in worship? I get really nervous when leaders are very, very busy and they can't engage in worship and receive from Jesus. And again, that can be embryonic, because we're not all, superstars in worship and things like that. But do they have a desire for that? And do they place themselves in worship? And do they place a value on that? Because that, to me, is a key for their capacity to intimacy. And it's a clue. And then also just this issue of functionality. At some point, leaders have to lead. And can they lead? And I think whether you're a church planter or a worship leader or a pastor or a preacher, you don't need a title. If you are really one of those things, you will just do it. So if you actually are a church planter, you don't need my permission. You'll do the things a church planter does because you are it. You'll lead people to Jesus. You'll invite them into community. You will serve them. You'll gather them into some type of community. And again, it may look quite embryonic, but you'll be doing it, and you'll do it whether I say you are or not. And so there has to be some type of functional reality, and those are some of the things I look for in a leader.